right hook. That overhand's right there. That left hook, left overhand.
Another big celebrity in attendance, 50 Cent.
He's a big boxing fan.
I'm sorry, 50 Cent.
Yeah,
Been
please.
corrected.
Well, you shouldn't screw up that one, should you? Big Floyd Mayweather friend and a big fan of boxing.
And he boxes, from what I understand, himself.
Yeah.
50 Cent. Austin Trout, Delvin Rodriquez. 12 rounds for the Super Welterweight Championship of the World, the WBA World Championship, owned by Trout in the white and zebra striped trunks. Rodriquez in blue and white.
All right, I joked at the beginning that these two men might not combine for the number of punches that was thrown in the last fight by Leo Santa Cruz, who threw 1,300 punches. Guess what? I might have been right. They've only thrown 228 for Trout and 150 so far for Rodriquez. So I may have been correct, unfortunately. There's a good combination by Austin Trout.
As we take a look at the show stats, total punches compared to our first fight.
Yeah. As I said, they're not right now combined. They don't look like they're going to get the 1,300 punches. And the edge for Trout, you see, it's a very small edge. So these are very close rounds. And this is the kind of fight that you're heading toward somebody thinking, oh, good
There's
left
Trout
hand.
with the left hand getting through.
Clean, step back.
And where's Rodriguez's right hand? We saw it land earlier in the fight, but boy, he's not thrown that punch very much at all in the last several rounds.
And now Rodriguez looks like he's a bit confused, still trying to figure out how to get close to Austin Trout. Trout admittedly says that the best part of his game is his defense. Very slick fighter. Wants to become more of a puncher, Austin Trout. Right now, Delvin Rodriquez having a hard time figuring him out.
Well, the last several opponents of Austin Trout have landed, how about this, 18% of their punches combined. So you don't land too many punches against Trout. That is, in fact, what he believes is his strength. But along with that needs to come some offense. Now, he has done much better in this round. And if there's been a dominant round for either fighter in this fight, it's been this 6th round for Austin Trout. Good jab by Trout. Well, on our show Extreme, we had some great action and some fights of note. Sharif Bogaray, who is in position to fight for the lightweight title against Manuel Leyva. First, he scored a knockdown with the right hand, and then when he swarmed his opponent, the referee stopped the fight, and Bogaray, the winner in round 2 by TKO. Daya Davis against Sakio Bika. Bika, a perennial contender in the 168-pound division, doing very, very well, and ultimately the referee would come in and stop this fight in the 10th round, and Sakio Bika got another win for him and keeps his career going as a potential contender. And Howard Davis's son, Daya, suffers a tough loss.
Sakio Bika, according to Andre Ward, gave him his toughest challenge when he fought Ward in Oakland, California, as a replacement in the Super 6 World Boxing Final, or Classic rather, when Andre Durrell pulled out. Bika fighting Andre Ward really tough, and Ward said, hey, I learned a lot fighting Sakio.
Of all the fights we saw during that period, really, he gave him the best go, and it wasn't part of the tournament. So, yeah, Bika's a very, very tough fighter, has always been.
And speaking of the Super 6, how about Carl Froch in Nottingham defeating Lucien Boutte.
Tremendous performance by Carl Froch in what was an exciting fight, and we continue to see Carl, who we saw here on Showtime. Of course, he's just a fine fighter.
I'm sure Rachel Cordingley was very happy at it.
Not quite as vocal, though, as she has been in other fights. Austin Trout right now has the opportunity, I think, to take control of this fight. There's a straight left hand. You mentioned Rodriguez has been a bit confused. He has not been aggressive in this fight, and though I mentioned he's fought well against several other southpaws, isn't doing so against this southpaw. And I think Austin Trout, this is the moment, maybe a moment of truth for him, where he wants to market himself and show he can be a dominant fighter and get opportunities like the one against Alvarez in September. And I think now would be a time for him to take control, and he's doing that to some degree.
Some of our Twitter fans feel that Rodriguez can steal this fight if he starts putting his punches together. 1:25 to go in the 7th round, scheduled for 12 for the WBA World Championship, as Austin Trout puts his title on the line against Delvin Rodriquez. Trout telling us he wants to look impressive. This is a huge stage for him.
Keep him up.
Could Canelo Alvarez be next? Well, right now, he has not put on a great show.
No, but he's picking up the pace a bit, and I agree with you that it's been an uneven effort by Austin Trout. But I think what he's starting to do now is show his pedigree by controlling this fight better, and he's been more aggressive. And Delvin Rodriguez is no pushover in there. But these coming rounds will be telling, Gus. These are the ones that will tell us whether Austin Trout can rise to the occasion and make himself a marketable fighter. He's winning these last several rounds. There's no question about that. Part of that's because Rodriguez has been so inactive.
Get off him.
Coming to the end of the 7th round, a herky-jerky fight for Austin Trout and Delvin Rodriguez. Absolutely no rhythm by either fighter. And don't forget, folks, coming up after this fight, the first of our 2 featured fights, Winky Wright returns after close to a 4-year layoff. He looks terrific, 159 pounds, taking on Kid Chocolate, Peter Quillen.
Yeah, he actually came in originally 160.2, but then immediately lost those 0.2 pounds. And there's Antonio Tarver making the 200-pound limit.
Taking on Latif Coyote, 199 pounds. Coyote, a specimen.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Youth versus experience.
That's an interesting and we hope entertaining matchup.
You take command. Be smart, though. Be smart about it.
8th round for the WBA World Championship. Austin Trout, the champion in white and black. Delvin Rodriguez, the challenger in white and blue.
Well, 9 of the last 10 fights that Delvin Rodriguez has been in has gone the distance, and one of them was an 11-round fight. So this is nothing new for him to be headed toward the end of a fight. And we mentioned he's had some difficult decisions. Now, in this fight, while there were a number of close rounds early, I think Austin Trout has kind of taken control in the last several rounds of this fight.
As we take a look at the show stats, total punches.
And what, as we look at this, clearly Austin Trout is doing better. And a lot of that edge has come in the last couple of rounds. But when you're landing 22% of your punches, it's not what you want. And he isn't throwing a lot either. There's a nice body shot by Austin Trout. Rodriguez has just been so inactive in this fight. That's a very low number, especially for him. When he fought Pavel Wallach, he threw many more punches. But again, that was a different kind of opponent. A short fighter coming in, just literally presenting himself as a target and also being very active. Good right hand by Rodriguez. Haven't seen that for rounds.
Let him go, Delvin. Work out of there. Good.
Straight left hand again. That's been the most successful punch for Austin Trout.
And he's thrown it to both the body and the head. So from that standpoint, that part's been very good for him.
And a looping right hand may have hurt Rodriquez a bit. He backed up slowly.
Trout is putting his imprint on this fight now. There's no question he's controlling the action. And it's up to Rodriquez, I think, to do something dramatic to try and turn this.
But this is not the kind of effort that you expected from Delvin Rodriquez. You expected him to take more chances, knowing what was on the line and what kind of opportunity he had been given to get in here.
You couldn't be more correct. That's exactly right. At 32, having suffered those tough losses, you are absolutely right.